So those cold temperatures will continue into Sunday morning. Now let's take a look at precipitation. Pretty calm for our Saturday as high pressure is in place. So a quiet day Saturday. Overnight we are going to see this clipper system moving in through parts of Northern Ontario. Southern Ontario will remain dry until overnight Sunday into Monday. We'll get to those details in just a second. There's our temperatures for your Sunday. -5 in Toronto, feeling like -11. So by the time we get into Sunday afternoon, things returning to a little bit more of what we would expect to feel in mid-January. Ottawa -13, feeling like -18. Now let's talk about that next system that's moving upwards from the United States, and there you can see a big swath of snow. We do have the risk of some freezing rain in parts of Eastern Ontario around Kingston. There is a look at our snowfall. Let's back that up 1 second so we can see our snowfall totals. A tight gradient on the western edge. A western portion of Toronto could see more snow downtown than at the airport, but we are looking at about 10 to 20 centimeters. The Kingston area, 20 to 30 centimeters through Monday. Well, we are going to have extreme cold warnings in place from Environment Canada, much of Ontario into Quebec as well. Special weather statements from Environment Canada also in anticipation of the storm arriving late Sunday and into Monday. Let's talk about those wind chills today across Ontario. Ottawa feeling like -25, Timmins feeling like -29, City of Toronto going to feel like -20 today. So you absolutely will need to bundle up if you are headed outdoors on Saturday. As we jump ahead to Sunday evening, weak clipper system bringing some snowfall across northeastern Ontario, but the system that we are going to be watching is down to the south as it makes its way north. After midnight on Sunday into the early hours of Monday, consistent heavy snowfall. So when you wake up Monday morning, likely going to be dealing with a few centimeters of snowfall already. So that's certainly going to have an impact on the morning commute, about 10 to 20 centimeters. We've got a very tight gradient along the western edge there. Downtown Toronto could see significantly more snowfall than, say, Pearson Airport. And our snowbelt regions, only about 5 centimeters down in the extreme southwest as well. Kingston area looking at potentially about 20 to 30 centimeters of snow. There is a freezing rain risk for Kingston as well. So that is what you're going to be dealing with on Monday. There's a look at our temperatures across Western Canada. Quite mild across Southern Alberta today, 5 in Calgary, 4 in Edmonton. And finally, a break from the precipitation for Southern BC.
So you've just finished with the bitter cold in the prairies, and are you wondering how Ontarians are doing embracing all of that cold polar air? Well, the group of windsurfers near the Hamilton Harbor have now taken to ice boating. I didn't know there was such a thing. Chantel Prescott is here with us. Sean Keating, thank you for that video. Okay, let's talk about the few swings and misses when it comes to that cold polar air because, well, it is really at play over the next little while in parts of the east. It is wetting the gamut for the next big system. We are talking about this. Chantel, we were talking off camera about the doozy that this storm is creating right from Memphis up to Maine in dozens of states with ice and snow. And we are going to get a taste of it very soon.
We are, and that's going to be happening through our Sunday overnight. That's going to be bringing some tricky travel on our Monday morning for those of you heading back to school.
Yeah, I'm going to hang my hat on the fact that there might be a few snow days around the GTA and the Golden Horseshoe. Look at these snowfall totals for a minute. We want to unpack this for you. Upwards of 40 centimeters of snowfall, the hot spots, the Niagara region and into eastern Ontario. Look at this sharp gradient, though. If you're in Windsor, for example, Chantal, or up in Parry Sound, you don't even really know that there is a snowstorm. This is just the top northwestern edge of the big system stateside.
And this is the first major snowfall of the season, so some of us need to be in extra caution for what's expected because it's going to be pretty impactful for us in Southern Ontario.
Yeah, those ice boaters were driving pretty well around the Hamilton Harbor, but this is the first time many will be driving in these type of conditions. We got to hit home the winds as well, because along with that snow coming down throughout the day Monday in the east, we're talking about winds all throughout Ontario gusting upwards of 40, 50, even 60 kilometers an hour, blowing all of this snow around for those of you in parts of the southern Great Lakes Basin. But it wasn't the only place in the country that has seen active weather. We are still feeling the fallout from the gusty winds in Atlantic Canada. Did you see Nathan Coleman's stuff yesterday?
It was a literal blizzard conditions. I couldn't believe he was still out there, but he was standing his ground as the whiteout conditions were surrounding him.
The Easterners are a hardy folks, still dealing with upwards of 100-kilometer-hour winds into the overnight. They continue over the next few days along with sea effect, but unpacking some of these snowfall totals. This was a sloppy mess in the south. Winds gusting all throughout about 100 kilometers an hour and close to 40 centimeters of snow. It's been one storm after another for those of you in Atlantic Canada. A parade.
Hopefully we'll see some relief like we're seeing in BC.
Yeah, balmy temperatures. Can we say that in parts of BC? You deserve it after weeks and weeks of relentless rain and snow, the white Christmas that really just kept on going. But we are talking about Pacific moisture and above seasonal temperatures now.
Yeah, so we're seeing some dry conditions. We're going to be seeing some system pushing its way in through the Sunday overnight for those of you in the lower mainland as well as Vancouver Island. That's going to be bringing some snow to the higher elevations as well.
Yeah, but totals are a lot less than what you've seen over the past little while. And all of this Pacific moisture, though, it is doing wonders to adding some of the greens back on the map for those of you in the prairies. The bitter and extreme cold is finally over. And you know what we have to say about that? Look at that sky. Just
well-deserved.
Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, well-deserved. It has been absolutely bitter. There will be a few more visits with that cold air as it swings across the country over the next little while. But enjoy the next 24, 36, even 48 hours of above freezing. Not just above seasonal, but above freezing conditions will be quite nice over the next little while. Okay, throughout the hour, big international story we will be drawing your attention to. Have you heard about the big undersea explosions in Tonga near Fiji? The visuals are absolutely incredible. We'll show you satellite imagery in just a second as well. Undersea explosions that sent shock waves and tsunami waves to coastlines really all around the Pacific. Felt as far away as Alaska. Just absolutely incredible visuals. Chantel, thank you for joining me. We'll be back very shortly, folks.
StormCentre coverage continues at the Weather Network now with an eye to Ontario, where we have an incoming winter storm that's going to be arriving late Sunday into Monday. Significant snowfall for much of the southern and eastern portions of the province and into Quebec as well. Yesterday, it was the cold that was the story in Ontario. Today, not quite as bad. Toronto -4, feeling like -10. Ottawa still going to be feeling like -19 with the wind chill. Timmins feeling like -15. But let's talk about that snow. So we've got a weak clipper system moving through northern Ontario today, but all eyes will be to the south as the system makes its way up late evening, around 10 o'clock, midnight, and continuing right through the morning, moving eastward towards the Ottawa Valley and Quebec. But significant snowfall rates through the overnight, so you're likely going to be waking up to significant snowfall that you're going to need to shovel and remove from your vehicle if you're heading out the door on Monday morning. The track of the storm has moved westward, so now the city of Toronto looking at potentially 15 to 25 centimeters. Some of our snowbelt areas looking at maybe 5 to 10 centimeters, but Niagara and Ottawa could both see about 40 centimeters of snow. Let's take a look at some video from Hamilton. This is an interesting contraption in Coots Paradise, launching at Princess Point. Skate blades attached to this sailboat type contraption, and likely going to be able to experience that through this week, because the only day we're going back above the freezing mark is on Wednesday, then back down to -10 on Thursday. Montreal is going to be in the minus double digits right throughout this week. Shot of additional snowfall on Wednesday. Let's take a look at some video from Atlantic Canada, that system that moved through Friday and into Saturday. Charlottetown, PEI, snowfall, blowing snow, strong wind gusts. We experienced that in parts of Nova Scotia as well, really across the maritime region. It was snowfall, it was strong wind gusts, poor visibility. With a great recap of everything that you experienced, here's Nathan Coleman.
You're watching Canada's Weather Network. To help you plan your activities in the coming days, here are the short and long-term forecasts for your area. To upload your photos and videos, visit upload.theweathernetwork.com.
When severe weather strikes, get critical information through StormCentre on our app, website, and TV channel. Stay ahead of active weather.
Roll right up, right track.
StormCentre informs you about upcoming severe weather.
This road has been closed for some time now.
Whether you're on our app, website, or watching on TV, stay safe and prepared with StormCentre.
It's the major snowfall event that we have been all waiting for across Ontario and Quebec. It has been named Winter Storm Izzy, south of the border. It was also responsible for bringing active weather to portions of Florida. We've already seen a confirmed tornado, but it is going to be a snowfall threat for us across the southern Great Lakes beginning late tonight. Closer to the midnight hour, it continues to bring widespread snow across the Golden Horseshoe. Fast forward into the pre-dawn hours, widespread snow begins to intensify, and then further into our Monday morning commute, the snowfall rates continue to ramp up. We're talking about 3 to 5 centimeters falling per hour across the GTA and then further across southeastern Ontario. Let's take a look at the snowfall amounts. These have risen since yesterday, 15 to 25 centimeters for downtown Toronto. You push into the Hamilton region and you're easily looking at 30 or more centimeters. High confidence for 40 or more centimeters through the Kingston area. We'll also have to watch out for reduced visibilities and potentially blizzard-like conditions waking up early Monday morning for, say, the Niagara region, along the lake shores as well. Those winds from the northeast, they shift out of the northwest as we head into the evening hours. Tomorrow, dangerous travel expected not only tomorrow morning, but even into our afternoon and evening with those blowing snow issues that are going to be present. That heavy snow, it continues to push into southern Quebec. The city of Montreal looking at 25 to 35 centimeters of snow, and the system, it doesn't stop there. It continues its way further to the east across the Atlantic provinces. It is going to be more of a rainfall event across Nova Scotia, a wintry mix across New Brunswick before it pushes into Newfoundland by early Tuesday morning. You could see the heavy rainfall that develops as well. We'll also have to watch out for very gusty winds. These will be intensifying through tomorrow afternoon and evening, incorporating much of Nova Scotia and eventually the coastal sections of Newfoundland.
Kambalia and Mark Robinson with you, unpacking all of the impacts that you will need to know for what we are on the eve of, the biggest snowstorm thus far this season for some of the most densely populated areas in the country. Mark Robinson, it looks calm behind you right now. It is not going to be that way come Monday.
No, not at all. And yeah, you can see, everything looks like nothing's happening. And yet, we're staring down the barrel of a storm that's, it does have me concerned simply because we are looking at major impacts in, as you said, one of the most densely populated areas in Canada, and that's sort of the Golden Horseshoe. Some of the models, way back when we first started seeing the storm, had the storm well down into the United States, but as we get closer and closer, the whole thing has been shifting west and west. So now we're looking at impacts along some of the major routes. We're talking about the Gardiner, the QEW, the 427. All those areas are going to be seeing a tremendous amount of snow on top of them. And in fact, as we get into the highest snowfall rates, the plows may not be able to keep up with getting that snow cleared and getting the routes open.
Yeah, and folks, it's not just the snow that will come down starting in the overnight period at 2 to 3 centimeters, a really fast clip. But But then after that, by about 11, 12 noon on Monday, when the snow has stopped falling, that's when the winds will continue to pick up, blowing and drifting all of this snow really throughout much of Monday, and then lake effect snow takes up behind it. So anywhere in the GTA or the Golden Horseshoe, if you can work from home Monday, it is strongly advised, as not only the snow will be at a fast clip, but then the winds will pick up as well, gusting up to 60 kilometers an hour, making some roads whiteout conditions and pretty much impassable. One of the biggest snowstorms we've had in a really long time, Mark. A lot of people are talking about the snow day potential. Have you seen any preparations over the last little while?
You know what I have? I've talked to some of my neighborhoods, and they've been saying, they were a little bit concerned about this, so they've gone out to get their groceries. They've made sure, the snow blowers have got oil and gas in them. People have been filling up their cars.
Yeah.
That's the kind of preparations that I've been seeing around here, and that's one I would suggest everybody does. If you last minute, just grab stuff, because as we get into late Sunday night into Monday morning, I would suggest not going anywhere.
I'm going to show everybody the totals here for a second. We have not been seasoned in Ontario when it comes to winter over the past couple months. We've had it pretty easy, and look at some of these totals, folks. We're talking upwards of maybe even 40 centimeters in some of those hot spots. That's the Niagara region, that's Kingston, up to Ottawa. Then this really sharp gradient. Mark, if you are driving on Monday morning, which you shouldn't be, from Burlington to Niagara, it's going to feel like you are driving in what's an extra 10 to 15 centimeters each city. This gradient is so sharp, it'll be very hard to prepare for any of the conditions outside your front door and outside your neighbor's front door, because it will be very, very variable.
Yeah, it's going to be, that's the big thing, where the snow is versus where the snow isn't. That's a very, very tight gradient, and keep in mind those winds are going to be blowing across the QEW, likely causing drifting and blowing, and the side roads, they're going to take a lot longer to get cleared out, so be prepared to be in place for quite a while.
Okay, let's give you the timing before we let you go. A reminder, our StormCentre coverage continues all night. You will have wall-to-wall coverage preparing you for this storm. The snow moves into the western edge, into the overnight period, continues into the eastern end, Peterborough towards Ottawa. Throughout your day Monday, lake effect snow and blowing and drifting snow in behind. We've got 30 seconds left. A reminder that our Mark Robinson will be out all day Monday with this coverage. Let him be out in these conditions so that you don't have to be, because man, this is going to be a lot of snow. And reminder, for those of you kind of Toronto and west, you will be waking up to all of this. There doesn't look like there's much out there right now, but believe us, things are going to be a very different story about 12 hours from now in the morning. Back for more StormCentre coverage. Stay with us in just a few minutes. It continues. Thanks, Mark. Tyler and myself, Sophia Kambalia, back with you. The winter storm that forecasters have been keeping an eye on for several days is on our doorstep. Travel will be nearly impossible. Tyler will be forecasting it all, and Mark Robinson will be in the middle of it all. So please, you stay at home and watch instead, folks. It's going to be a messy one, guys.
Honestly, we see this track developing, and it is, you couldn't dream up a better track to get heavy snowfall across the most highly populated region of Canada, from Niagara Peninsula through the Greater Toronto area, and then extending all the way to the Ottawa Valley. Big swath of 30+ centimeters of snow on the way.
And may I add the dramatics of this event, that you just can't write the fact that it is on the eve, as parents are waited with bated breath as kids return to the first in-person day in Ontario after a month of being out of school like this. What next, as I speak for all parents in Ontario right now. The snow plows are going to have a tough time keeping up. We've been talking about that. We've also been talking about the numbers. I'm going to pull up the snowfall graphic for you, because we are talking upwards of 40 centimeters for some localities. Mark, you will be in some of those spots tomorrow. Let's talk about your plan.
Yeah, you know what? My plan is to start off in the GTA, in Toronto itself. Likely going to be down, if I can make it. That's the, fingers crossed right now. I'm going to be starting out really early in the morning. Down to the CN Tower area, because that's, gives us a good idea of what's going to be like in the downtown core. When I finish the morning, I'm going to actually try and drive from there over to Grimsby, which may be one of the hardest hit areas, just because of a combination of the wind and the snow. And I'll show you what the QEW is like, what the Gardner's like.
Wow.
And can I even make it there? At this point, I don't know if I can.
Okay, we just showed you the timeline there full screen for a moment. Overnight is when a lot of this is going to come in. For those of you in the West End, you will wake up to what looks like 20 to 30 centimeters of snow. It continues falling throughout the first half of tomorrow and then really picks up in the East End. Tyler, let's talk about this storm, because this was a doozy of a storm stateside. There were winter storm warnings, the ice storm warnings from Memphis up to Maine. The power that Gulf moisture and cold air has together.
Incredible dynamics, Sophia. We had tornadoes reported in Florida. So all of that instability is really developing into this strong low that will continue to intensify and just skirt east of Lake Ontario Monday morning. That means we are in that cold sector of that low pressure system. And the snowfall rates will begin to ease Monday afternoon, but don't let your guard down just yet, because as that pressure deepens in that low, we're going to get those wind speeds increasing just as the snowfall rates start to decrease. So we may in fact see a drop in visibility, even though the snowfall rates have diminished somewhat. So it's not a really one and done Monday morning, hey, you can hit the roads by Monday at noon, you're fine. No, that probably won't be the case.
So after snowfall rates of 2 to 3 centimeters an hour overnight, Tyler, then we're talking about snowfall rates decreasing, but the winds picking up. Have a look at this danger zone map, because we were talking off camera a minute ago. Everything is in the danger zone. It's almost a moot point. Every highway will pretty much be impassable, if not hazardous, throughout the day on Monday. If you can work from home, that is the message on Monday. I will hang my hat on the fact that there will be quite a few snow days for that first in-person planned day on Monday.
Absolutely. The only section of Southern Ontario really missing out would be Bruce Peninsula, Saugeen Shores, down towards sections of Lake Huron. That's about it. The 401 from London all the way out to Cornwall, absolute disaster. If you really don't have to be on the roads Monday, I'd advise you take a personal day or just simply work from home.
One of the few occasions where those of you in Barrie, Cottage Country, and Windsor will see less snow than those of you in downtown Toronto. For everybody in Ontario, our StormCentre coverage all night and into Monday. Stay with us for more. Tyler, Mark, thank you.
Roll right up right track.
StormCentre informs you about upcoming severe weather.
This road has been closed for some time now.
Whether you're on our app, website, or TV, stay safe and prepared with StormCentre. You're watching Canada's Weather Network. To help you plan your activities in the coming days, here are the short and long-term forecasts for your area. To upload your photos and videos, visit upload.theweathernetwork.com. Show off your weather photos using hashtag #ShareYourWeather.
StormCentre, Sophia Kambalia, Tyler Hamilton back with you. A major snowstorm will batter Southern Ontario. The warnings and the weather advisories are out in advance of this, and you have a lot of questions at home. We have taken some of your main talking points, some of your main questions. Tyler and I will try to unpack as many details as we can here. Starting with the biggest snowstorm in years. Is this the case of what is on our doorsteps, Tyler? True or false? I'm pulling up the data for
Drum
you.
roll, the stats don't lie. Well, November 22nd, 2020, there it is, a 20-centimeter snowfall. I think we can beat that at Pearson this go around. Let's go for January 28th, 2019, 26.4 centimeters of snow.
That
So hey,
wasn't
that's
that long ago.
that's 3 years ago now. So it's a 1 in 3 year event. Let's call it that.
So the biggest snowstorm in a while, but really in recent memory, we have maybe picked up more in some areas than we are going to see. But let's talk about some of the snowfall totals. A lot of you are asking about the potential to overachieve, which is really important for some of the areas that could see upwards of 30 or 40 centimeters of snowfall. Like, a lot of people are even throwing around the 50-centimeter word. Is that even possible here?
I think it is, Sophia. If we look towards those dark red hues, that is a 90% chance of exceeding 30 centimeters of snow, and likely a coin toss or more of exceeding 40+ centimeters of snow. So we have to watch the Niagara Peninsula and even the regions between Kingston out towards Eastern Ontario for the potential to exceed locally 40 centimeters of snowfall. And then the Greater Toronto area, all those shades of blue, we're going to make a run, I think, pockets close to 30 centimeters of snow by Monday afternoon.
Over 40 centimeters for some of those local bands. That's over a foot of snow, folks. Okay, question after question after question about the snow day potential. Everybody and their mother, literally all the mothers like me, want to know, is it going to be a snow day on this first day for many kids in Ontario to be back to in-person learning? It's a toss-up. It's coming in overnight for the West End, but the East End, a different timing story as well, right, Ty?
Well, let's just break it down and keep it simple by color. If you're in a shade of blue, you are very unlikely to see a snow day. So think to your London up towards Cottage Country. Once you get into those purple shades in the Greater Toronto area, becoming increasingly concerned for widespread school bus cancellations and school district closures in that 20 to 30 centimeter range. High confidence for school closures, delays, cancellations, really for the Niagara Peninsula out towards Eastern Ontario, including Kingston and Ottawa.
Especially when we're talking about the travel, not only for the morning school commute in the West End when you wake up with all that snow, but in the East End as that snow is continuing to come down throughout the day. Speaking of impassable and whiteout conditions, a lot of you, especially on social media right now, are asking, is this going to be a blizzard for Toronto? That's the question I'm reading right there. Well, no, but there are some areas, Ty's going to tell us, that are just shy of blizzard-like criteria, and yeah, this is teetering towards that.
So what defines a blizzard? If we look towards the 444 criteria, Toronto, you'll likely see the visibility under 400 meters for 4 hours. But the rule, the criteria we're going to miss for a lot of the Greater Toronto area, we're not going to get those sustained winds at 40 kilometers an hour, not until Monday afternoon when the precipitation rate decreases. Regions Monday morning that have the potential to see those sustained winds clocking in at around that 40 kilometer an hour mark. That's around the southern shores of Lake Ontario, including Niagara.
But that does not mean that travel will not be hazardous, if not impassable and whiteout in some areas. Stay with us not only into the overnight period, but all day tomorrow as this StormCentre coverage Monday continues.
it's been a while, Ontario. We've seen tremendously active weather in Western Canada, British Columbia, and on the other side of the continent, Atlantic Canada has been pummeled by nor'easters. Now I'm going to bring in storm hunter and meteorologist Mark Robinson, who has really been missing out on all of this StormCentre activity. How are you feeling right now, Mark?
Well, you know what? This one has me, I mean, I'm going to be serious here. It does have me a bit concerned simply because of the impact that this storm may have. You know, you look at nor'easters, you look at the western, the prairies, it may not be hitting the numbers of people that this storm may be hitting. When you're talking about Southern Ontario, you know, a good chunk of Canada lives in this area, and the storm is aimed, you know, directly at us. And that's what we've been watching for, you know, a good 3 or 4 days now.
And our confidence has really increased the past 24 hours on the regions that have the highest snowfall rates really through pre-dawn Monday. We've got the snow map on your screen. Really, the highways will be near impossible to travel along, Toronto eastward to Kingston, and then those raw northeast winds funneling down Lake Ontario, Hamilton to Grimsby to Niagara Falls. I wouldn't be surprised if we are teetering towards blizzard conditions, reduced visibility, near certainty with this one. Locally, maybe 40 to 50 centimeters of snow across pockets of the Niagara Peninsula.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what? You know, we were looking at, I was looking at some of these models, and I know, Ty, you have been too. And I remember at one point it showed 96 centimeters for Grimsby, which, of course, is completely out of the question. That's just not likely to happen. But it is fascinating to sort of see how we have to take those models, blend them all together, and sort of come up with a forecast. And, you know, Tyler, I think you were saying that, you know, we've been pretty rock solid and pretty, you know, bang on. But again, it's going to be the impact that it has on the transportation system that I'll be looking at. And with those 2 to 3 centimeter per hour snowfall rates in that pre-dawn, you know, those plows are not going to be able to keep up. You know, on side streets, forget about it. Even on the main routes, we're talking about, you know, the QEW, the Gardner, the 427, the 401. You know, those are the areas I'm concerned about as this storm system comes in.
And right now we have a graphic showing what the depiction of the atmosphere is going to look like at 4 a.m. this morning, in Monday morning rather. Hamilton, Niagara Falls, and Toronto are all in that 2 to 3 centimeter per hour snowfall club. Those snow plows are really going to struggle because by the time we start our Monday morning, there is likely over 20 centimeters of snowfall on the ground around the Niagara Escarpment. And then towards eastern Ontario, Monday morning into early afternoon becomes quite problematic for anyone along Highway 7 over towards Ottawa. Snowfall totals there will easily exceed 30 centimeters as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing that I'm seeing is there, again, as we go towards Ottawa, you know, we were sort of iffy on where it was going to hit Toronto, but Ottawa just looked like it was going to take a direct hit. And of course, the Niagara region also taking that direct hit. So the impacts right across southern, eastern, and even central Ontario is going to be impressive with this storm.
Well, thank you so much, Mark, for joining our coverage. You'll be out very early, pre-dawn Monday, chasing this storm system. Try to get some rest beforehand here. You have a big day ahead of you.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think everybody else does too in Southern Ontario. If you don't have to be out, don't be out. Stay inside. Don't do what Mark does. I'll show you what it's going to be like and why you don't want to be out on the roads.
All right, cheers, Mark. And the winds will continue to really pummel parts of Southern Ontario. In fact, they'll pick up into Monday afternoon.
You're watching Canada's Weather Network. To help you plan your activities in the coming days, here are the short and long-term forecasts for your area. upload your photos and videos, visit upload.theweathernetwork.com.
This local forecast has been brought to you by Sure Health from Green Shield Canada, Canada's only national not-for-profit health and dental benefit specialist. This program is brought to you by Newfoundland and Labrador Tourism. Leave no song unsung.
Out in the field. Mark, we've been watching this storm develop since last week, and it has delivered. We've got a blanket of snowfall warnings, winter storm warnings as well. You're in Toronto where the snow is just pelting down. I mean, these snowfall rates you were saying are something you haven't never really seen, well, at least in a long time.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't seen snowfalls like this in a very long time, especially in the GTA. Like that, I think, is the most surprising thing. But that does mean that the impact to the GTA itself is going to be it's just going to be bad. So any sort of transportation, if you're driving around, you're going to be dealing with almost whiteout conditions. Add a little bit of wind. I mean, imagine driving down, Bay Street with those big towers, a little bit of wind down there, and you are going to have, blowing snow. But what I want to show you right now, Nicole, is take a look here at the car, okay? So I've been here maybe half an hour, and I can see probably 3, maybe 4 centimeters of new snow on top of the car. This was completely, cleared off before I arrived here at the CN Tower, and this is what you're having to drive through. That band is sitting directly over top of TO, right over top of the GTA right now, and that's what's giving us these extreme snowfall rates.
You're right, Mark. It's been really intense. I mean, I drove in early this morning at 3 a.m. Like Mark mentioned, the snow is just coming down so rapidly. So the plows are out, but it's going to be tough for them to keep up with what's happening. So when you see these radars, you see those dark blues, that is the heavy snowfall rates off towards Cobourg. Not as heavy right now, but that's going to continue to intensify. We'll continue to see this snow spread across the Greater Toronto area up towards Barrie. Algonquin is in a snowfall warning, but doesn't extend all the way past that. But it continues to track east. Ottawa Catholic school boards have been canceled. Halton Catholic school boards have been canceled. I keep checking refresh for the Toronto District School Board, probably happening right now, to see what's happening with them. In the wake of this, we get lake effect snow. But if you're wondering how much is going to fall through this event, the projections are really high. I mean, we're looking at 15 to 25 centimeters for Toronto. Up towards Owen Sound, less amounts, but then we go east, and Kingston could be sitting at 30 to 40 centimeters of snow with this event. And, with the snowfall rates that we're seeing with Mark out there, we could exceed that too. Now, the thing is, with a lot of snowstorms, a lot of snow falls in the morning. By the afternoon, pretty good. Problem with what's happening today is the snow is going to be blowing around through the afternoon. So even as those snowfall rates start to ease, Mark, we're going to see the snow blowing around, reducing visibility. So yes, I think we're going to see more school closures. Where are you going to be traveling for today? Where can we find you?
Well, you know what? I'm going to be downtown Toronto for the first part of this storm, and then what I'd like to do is actually go out towards the Grimsby area, which does actually have a blizzard warning now. That gives you an idea of how strong this storm is going to be, and why you probably shouldn't be on major roads like the QEW.
A lot of people are working from home. We can't, Mark, but thankfully a lot of people are going to already be off the roads because there is a work from home vibe happening out there, right?
Oh yeah, and I get to work on the road, but definitely you're going to want to stay in home because it's going to be bad.
This program is brought to you by Visit Florida. Discover the Florida you don't know.
Well, thanks for joining us on this Monday as our StormCentre coverage continues. As you can see, we've got Mark Robinson in Toronto. He's out in the field tracking the snow, and of course Nicole Karkic is also with us as well. And guys, this is obviously one of the heavier snowfall rates and storms that we've seen across the city for quite some time. A blizzard warning issued not only around the western end of Lake Ontario but for Toronto as well. And look at the road.
Just cut out.
All right, Nadine just cut out there. We got live TV here, folks, and you can see the roadways. You know what? Thankfully, looking like there's not a lot of cars on the road, right? You've got a lot of kids home from school today. A lot of people still working from home because of the pandemic. So that is good because, I mean, look at this. We've got winter storm warnings in place in that Pepto-Bismol color. And we've got in the red Cobourg, Toronto, Hamilton, Niagara, the blizzard warning in effect there. City of Toronto just issued an extreme cold weather alert. So their warming centers are open over the next 24 hours. Temperatures are dropping through the overnight hours. By this afternoon, we're looking at feeling like -13. So the cooler air is coming overnight tonight. But it's the big snow right now that is catching everyone's attention, of course. Mark Robinson has been in the thick of it. And my friends are wondering, why did I get lucky and I was in the studio and you're out there in the middle of it? But you love it, and we all love being out there too. You got your goggles, you're ready to go. Tell us more.
Yeah, I'm absolutely ready to go, and I've actually talked to a few people who have been walking out and about, and I want to draw your attention back here to the top of the Rogers Centre. There is snow. There's so much snow falling, Nicole, that it's actually avalanching off the top, and I was talking to a couple of girls that actually got hit by the snow. They said it was just a lot of snow really fast, really suddenly. Wasn't a lot of, it wasn't very heavy snow, but it kind of scared them because it just suddenly hit. And that's the kind of snow and that's the kind of dangers that we're dealing with. If you are walking through downtown Toronto, keep in mind that as the winds begin to pick up, you're going to see snow coming off the buildings, and it could come off, like I said, just coming off the Rogers Centre there in big sort of avalanches. This is the kind of thing you're going to have to worry about. The plows are working as hard as they can to try and clear everything off, but it is going to take a while, especially as we get into the afternoon and the snow starts to blow around and recover the areas that were just once plowed, even though the snow has stopped. So this is a high impact, long duration event.
100%. And what's interesting about this storm is that it really is a greater Toronto area, Ottawa Valley, St. Lawrence Seaway storm. It's not a big cottage country, Algonquin north of that storm. It's really hitting these regions in the purples and the whites, where we're seeing 15 to 30 centimeters plus through this event when it wraps up into tomorrow morning. So tomorrow's going to be the better day for travel because, as you can see with Mark, and because we have blizzard warnings in effect, the big problem is even as those snowfall rates ease, the winds will be whipping this fresh snow all around. We're tracking this. Will Toronto break that all-time single-day snowfall record of 39.9 centimeters? We'll be tracking this to see. Also, of note, up and down the St. Lawrence, Montreal, 20 to 30 centimeters on tap for you. This moves into Atlantic Canada next. Stay with us.
This program is brought to you by Visit Florida. Discover the Florida you don't know.
We now join live storm tracking, already in progress.
And by the way, Ottawa is now in the blizzard warning as well. And for a blizzard criteria, it means that you have to have sustained winds for 40 kilometers or greater. Obviously, you have stronger gusts, but sustained winds producing visibility of 400 meters or less for at least 4 hours or more. So, Mark, I got to tell you, this is, I would say this is certainly on the unusual scale when it comes to snow of this intensity and duration. Would you agree?
Yeah, you know what, Chris, I'm going to absolutely agree with you. Here in Toronto, you always hear the joke that if it snows really hard, you're going to have to call in the army. I'm going to say that we're probably not going to have to do that, but we're definitely going to have to be patient as the plows move around, try to keep everything clear. I've been down here, right at Ripley's Aquarium, the CN Tower here. I've been talking to the guys that are trying to keep this clear, like the plow operators that are trying to, open this up for people. And they have not been able to keep up, and they've actually said it's getting a little disheartening how much snow is coming down and how much they're going to have to work away at it, and that is going to continue. Now we have something, because you were talking about the blizzard here, the blizzard conditions. Now, yeah, I can believe that. Now we're protected pretty well from a lot of the wind coming from the north by the Rogers Centre and CN Tower and the core itself. But there has been a couple of very strong gusts that have blown right through here. And I can tell you the tip of my nose is getting quite numb because it's that cold out here. But definitely a very, very high impact storm. Nadine, I kind of envy you now being in the studio.
Well, I do not envy you, Mark, and hopefully you'll be able to stay warm. But we'll see this continue for us throughout today, even though our snowfall intensity will be easing a bit as we head into the afternoon. Want to take you into vertical velocity, which can give us a good indication of where the heaviest precipitation rates will be. And take a look here. Notice we're starting to see some breaks just northwest of the city and even just to the east as well. But we still do have a few of those hues that are brighter, particularly toward parts of eastern Ontario. And then as we zoom this through and then we continue to track that, there you can see once we advance into this afternoon and evening, really the focus will be through the Ottawa Valley, the lower Ottawa Valley, and into southern Quebec as well. Now remember that bit of a gap we saw there just to the northwest or to the west of the city? Notice how that is beginning to reflect nicely for us on our radar imagery. So a bit of an ease in the intensity here for us just west of the Hamilton region. But don't be fooled though, because we're still expecting that snowfall to continue. And even as, you know, the heaviest snowfall that we're seeing to the west of Toronto continue to advance eastward throughout late morning and into the afternoon, that will fill in for us through today as well. So this is going to be an ongoing story. The winds will continue for us for this afternoon, gusting 40 to 50 plus kilometers per hour. So despite the fact that the intensity of the snowfall will be easing, the winds will be gusty, blowing and drifting snow. If you're joining us on TV, stay with us. We'll be right back after this break. But our live stream continues on our digital platforms. Don't go anywhere. We're right here.
There's Thundersnow in Ontario. It is one large storm with a wide wingspan that's also impacting Quebec. Montreal through the morning has seen the visibility get worse as the intensity of the snow picks up along with the winds, reducing visibility. Motorists being advised to stay at home with tough travel conditions in Kingston, Ontario, where more than 30 centimeters of snow could fall in parts of eastern Ontario. And as we go further west, it's no better. In fact, a rare blizzard warning has even been issued for the Niagara region, Hamilton, Toronto, and points to the east as well, with very poor visibility. It is rough out there, and more than 30, even 40 centimeters of snow is expected.
We now join live.
And to be careful, if you are just joining us on TV, welcome back. We are live streaming on our digital platforms. And of course, Nicole, that map looks very colorful behind you. I can think of shrimp, but it's not as pleasant as eating shrimp.
No, and I'm thinking Pepto-Bismol pink when I look at the winter storm warnings, and you know, your stomach turns when you think about this storm and the people on the roads and you know, the cars spinning out. I mean, it is awful out there. Also of note today, we don't always see this with big winter storm, folks. We've got a blizzard warning for Cobourg, Toronto, Hamilton, Niagara. So in that red, that's the blizzard warning. Nation's capital in that as well. Ottawa at the airport has picked up at least 25 centimeters so far. Pearson has seen 27, and we're just piling up and still counting. Those snowfall rates have been 2 to about 7 centimeters per hour across the greater Toronto area through the Ottawa Valley. The high winds will continue into the afternoon. So even though, hey, you might be looking at this map thinking it's lighter blue, it's getting less in intensity, we're gonna see those winds whip around the snow. For tomorrow, lake effect snow is our big story, but things are going to be much improved across the board. The plows will be able to get out there and get rid of a lot of this snow, put some salt down as well. So we'll be getting back closer to normal tomorrow. We're forecasting about good 15 to 30 centimeters in the greater Toronto area, more off towards the east. So we're watching this here at the Weather Network. Will Toronto break this record, the all-time single-day snowfall record of 39.9 centimeters? Mark, as you weigh in on that, what are you thinking? Over, under on that?
You know what? I hate to do this, but I'm gonna have to go under. I'm seeing the snowfall rates really reduce. I mean, you can actually see behind me. You can see the base of the CN Tower, and you know, if you know, the camera can't go up right here, but if you were to go up, I can actually see the top of the CN Tower again, and that's what I've been using to sort of figure out how heavy the snow is, how high the intense the snowfall rates have been. And yeah, earlier, I couldn't even see the base of the CN Tower. That's how heavy the snow was. It's lessened a bit now, and the last time I measured was 37 centimeters. It is going to be so close. If it's not going to break it, boy, I'll tell you, it is still going to be an extraordinarily high impact storm for the GTA, for the Golden Horseshoe, just with the amount of snow. And of course, you know, as you were saying earlier, the winds are then going to pick this snow up and start to blow it around. You know, you can see right here, I'm going to do a little shoveling. You know, look how light that snow is. That means that the wind's going to be able to pick that up and really move it around. And when if it's blowing from the west towards the east, any north-south roads are going to have large drifts over top of it. And Chris, I know you've probably had to deal with drifts over roads in your time.
Yeah, I mean, it's 2 years to the day that Snowmageddon hit in Newfoundland, and this is the kind of snow I really haven't seen since then, I would say. Let me just show you a satellite. I mean, look at this right here. This looks like something out of Greek mythology. I mean, look at that beautiful shape, that very mature, muscular, robust low-pressure system with a very wide wingspan that is impacting the U.S., and it is bringing just about general misery everywhere it goes with it. For those of you who are watching on TV, we'll be back in just a few minutes with another update.
Tracking a big winter storm, biggest I've seen in a long time. We've got blizzard warnings in place for the city of Toronto, the city of Ottawa as well. We'll track down the details in terms of the timing and when you are going to be able to get out there without it being a mess. But we've got Mark Robinson in the city of Toronto, where, Mark, you've been mentioning that you're starting to see those snowfall rates ease a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, we're not getting the intense snowfall rates that we saw early this morning. It's damping down enough that you can see buildings, you know, beginning to show up. And now this is likely how it's going to be for at least through the early afternoon. Just a little bit of snow coming down. We may come close to that all-time record. We'll see if that happens. But it's later on in the afternoon. We get the very strong winds, and of course we also have a cold weather alert for Toronto. So the snow is, you know, cold enough. It can be easily blown around, and that's what we're going to be dealing with. If this wind is coming, say, from the west towards the east, any north-south roads are going to have, you know, big drifts coming across them, especially if you've got clear areas, you know, parks or fields off to the west. That's going to cause those big drifts. So this is going to be the issue. And of course, this storm has hit one of the most populated areas of Canada. So it just has slowed everything down to an absolute crawl. So if you are going to be out and about, please be careful. Please be prepared for cold weather and lots of blowing snow.
Thanks, Mark. But you know what? The good news is that we've seen a lot of school closures, of course. I've seen shops online saying that they're shutting their doors for today. And a lot of people already are set up and working from home. But let's take you through the timing of when things will start to get better. But first, let's look out on the roads here. And you can see, I mean, just blocked off sections, cars that have been rolled over. You can see that car off in the distance. Yeah, where is it going? It's just stuck there. People dealing with this along the lakeshore, and that is just a pile up, you can see, of trucks. So people behind that probably are wondering, what is going on? Where am I going? It is an absolute mess out there. So good news is not as many people on the roadways. So the million-dollar question is, when will this get better? Well, as Mark said, intensity is easing a bit, but as you start to get into the evening hours, it will get even less in intensity. But the winds will start to pick up to 60 to 70 kilometers an hour, blowing that snow around, so that could continue to reduce the visibility. I would say if you can stay at home for today, do so. Tomorrow, you know, watch out for some lake effect snow, Kincardine, Goderich, even down towards Kitchener, but it's not going to be as bad as today. Today, much worse to get around, of course. How much snow will fall through this event? This is our forecast. A good 15 to 30 centimeters across Toronto, over towards Ottawa, 30 to 40 centimeters. So you know what? We're watching this here at the Weather Network. Will we break that all-time single-day snowfall record of 39.9 centimeters? And how will it measure up in the top 5 snowiest days on record for Pearson? We've got about 30 to 40 centimeters there. So we'll track this to see if we beat it. For the afternoon, it's going to feel like minus 13 in Toronto, minus 10 in Ottawa. Temperatures dive down through the overnight, gets even colder. But of course, our bigger story is the snowstorm, and we'll continue the coverage right here.
Our StormCentre coverage continuing here at the Weather Network. Taking a look, there is an OPP vehicle there on the what looks like the on-ramp. Toronto Police. The City of Toronto is shutting down the DVP and the Gardner in an effort to give snow plows the opportunity to clear the roads. And of course, there are many cars stuck on the roads right now, so they want to be able to clear those roads. There you can see a live shot of an accident that has taken place with a couple of tractor trailers there and trucks, transport trucks. So, of course, this is a very dangerous situation for many drivers, not only because of the accidents that are blocking the roadways, but snow-covered roads. And the plows are really trying to get a handle of the clearing efforts. And so because of that, the DVP and the Gardner will be closed in an effort to help clear the roads, not only of the snow, but of course from the traffic as well, and a lot of those vehicles that are stuck on the roads. And as you can see, our Mark Robinson, he is in Toronto. I can hear Mark behind you. Snow plows are going. This is quite a bit of snowfall that we haven't seen in quite some time.
Yeah, they have been working very hard all morning long. They were working on this when I first arrived here at about 6 o'clock in the morning, and they've been going through just trying to keep up. And that gives you, I mean, this is just the tiniest sliver of this big story, just to give you an idea. You know, they're trying to keep this little area clear, and they can't keep up. So imagine all the different roads. We're talking about the, those main routes that they've had to, close down. I think that might be one of the first times I've ever heard of them actually closing down the DVP and the Gardner just to get everything cleared up. If you don't have to go somewhere, I would suggest not going anywhere. Just stay inside. The one thing, though, is I've actually seen that there has not been that many people. Normally, this is an area where there's just many people, cars. We've only seen a few people out here, and the guys that have been working away trying to clear everything up, and a few pedestrians here and there. Almost no cars in and around the CN Tower near the Rogers Centre. It's just amazing how much this how high impact this storm has been on the GTA.
Well, Mark, when you think about you putting in the mix, we've got the heavy snowfall rates that comes on a Monday morning, and with millions of people, this is no doubt going to be almost inevitable, I should say. But as we continue into this afternoon, despite the fact you see the deeper blues toward the Ottawa region, lighter blues indicating lighter intensity snowfall across the GTA taking us through the afternoon. So that intensity decreases, but we still have the winds to contend with. So there will be some blowing and drifting snow taking us through the afternoon and into the evening. The bulk of the precip moves off toward the east, heading into tonight through tomorrow. Some lake effect developing across southern Georgian Bay region and into Lake Huron as well. Winds continue to be gusty for us. You can see that center of circulation pushing through eastern Lake Ontario for the afternoon. Could see those gusts well over 60 kilometers per hour. And then as we head into tonight, those winds, cold winds, shifting out of the north and west across the GTA.
StormCentre coverage continues here at the Weather Network. What a nightmare it was across all highways in Ontario. You know how we always say if you get 3 centimeters in downtown Toronto, it can mess up the roads? Well, we had a whole lot more where that came from. This is a view of the 400 ramp from the 401, and it was completely blocked off because 2 transport trailers couldn't actually make it up the ramp. It was so snowy. Let's show you the overall system. It's great to have you along. We've been wall-to-wall coverage with this. We've got Tyler Hamilton that's standing by. I'm going to bring him in out in the field in just a second. But look at this wraparound moisture, still bringing in some snow bands across the GTA. Most of the heavy snow obviously is well off to the east, but you know, we still could see some lake effect snow as the next part of this story. And I'm telling you, before I get into the nitty-gritty of some of these amounts, these snow totals, I'm going to just bring Tyler Hamilton in live because, you know, Tyler, for the last 4 or 5 days, us as forecasters and meteorologists, we've been, you know, laboring over the model runs to see what this was, you know, going to do. I think the models handled this storm really well. We really saw a bona fide, well, blizzard almost in downtown Toronto. Ty?
Absolutely, Jack. When you look at this system, it is going to really go down in the history books. Widespread 30 to 45 centimeters of snow reported all across the greater Toronto area. And to put that into just a little bit of perspective for the viewer, that's a month's worth of snow. Pearson normally averages just shy of 40 centimeters of snowfall. Now, all the snow has really dissipated through the greater Toronto area. That'll be the theme right through Monday evening and overnight. But the winds, Jacqueline, have really picked up, gusting 60 to 70 kilometers an hour out of the northwest. That is creating localized whiteouts and a lot of blowing snow conditions in and around southern Ontario.
Yeah, Ty, you look bundled up, and I want you to stay bundled up because poor Tyler, we've had him on this storm from every perspective. I mean, we've been, like I said, poring over model data for days, and this is what fell. Tyler's right. I mean, 33 centimeters in Toronto, 36 for Peterborough, 46 centimeters in Ottawa, and we were calling for 40 plus. So, you know, really the model did a great job at this, and so did our forecasters here at the Weather Network. In fact, I think the only area that maybe overachieved would be St. Catharines at 50 centimeters of snow. Meanwhile, you live in Windsor, you live in Essex County, you're saying, what snowstorm? Even Cottage Country, what snowstorm? This was all you know, south of the 401, a GTA, a GTHA storm, Eastern Ontario, and it's not done yet, folks. Monday evening, we're still going to be seeing 40 to 50 kilometer wind gusts northwesterly. As Tyler had mentioned, he's already feeling it. This is going to now kick up the lake effect machine because we have wide open lakes open for business this late in the season. Now, Tuesday evening, get ready for another clipper. So if you are happy about the snow, the kids, of course, had a snow day, the first day they're due back to go to school. They're happy to be maybe playing out in the snow. You're not going to get rid of it. Temperatures are going to keep this snow around for at least the short range before that next clipper. Let's talk to some numbers here. Ottawa International Airport, this is actually incorrect. 43? No, we've actually surpassed that at 46 with this storm. So 46 centimeters of snow makes it the second snowiest day on record in the city of Ottawa. There's the lake effect machine. There's, by Wednesday morning, that clipper I had mentioned. We will get just a slight bump up in temperatures with that clipper. We'll see our wind shift southwesterly, but not until then, because the wind chills are still going to be feeling like the minus teens right through Tuesday afternoon. So stay with us here at the Weather Network. Stay bundled up. Stay off the roads. That's the best advice we can give you as we continue to track this storm across Ontario.
My goodness, this was a storm you'll be talking about for quite some time. I got 33 centimeters at Pearson, 48 centimeters in Ottawa, and look at St. Catharines and Oshawa topping 50 centimeters of snow. In terms of what's left now behind the systems, just some lingering lake effect snow off Lake Huron. That's hitting areas between, say, Goderich and Kincardine and down towards the St. Mary, Stratford area, Woodstock as well. So just be mindful of that. Could be locally 10 to 15 centimeters of snow. I want to show you some video here, and we'll go to Woodstock, Ontario, and we can see you. Thank you very much, Danielle Fox, for sharing in this, the blowing snow. This wasn't lake effect snow. This was the system snow, producing some treacherous conditions. Lots of sunshine today, especially in southern and eastern Ontario. With all that fresh snow, you want to make sure you bring the sunglasses because the glare off those snowbanks will be very intense. All right, we've been dealing with a prairie clipper system here that's been bringing dropping temperatures in Alberta. Still some lingering snow along Highway 3 there, Lethbridge to Medicine Hat along the Trans-Canada. Brutal conditions are on Regina and Moose Jaw with blowing snow and poor visibility, and several centimeters of snow across southern Manitoba, including Winnipeg, where a winter storm warning continues. After this morning's snowfall, the wind will be an issue, and even blizzard warnings off the lakes of Manitoba. Still dealing with some strong winds and blowing snow this morning, and dropping temperatures for you across the southern prairies and into northwestern Ontario. Kenora to Fort Francis, snow has already begun. That will move its way eastwards. 10 to 15 centimeters of snow for you this morning. That whole snow moves east tonight and tomorrow. Very glad you could join us on the Weather Network. 3 minutes with 3 Mets. Nicole Karkic, Nadine Powell, Chris Murphy with you. No shortage of weather to talk about. We've been counting snowflakes, keeping track of snowstorms. Nadine, we're going to start with you because the storm you're going to talk about today in the prairies is not just going to stay in the prairies, but go on a bit of a road trip further east. But let's begin there with quite the story.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Chris. What happens in the prairies definitely does not stay in the prairies. We've got still quite a few alerts in place for the snow and wind. It's coming to an end across Alberta. Gusty winds and blowing snow across Saskatchewan. And you can see there across southern Manitoba for today. Still some additional snowfall with blowing snow, some winter storm warnings and snowfall warnings there. But you can see once we head through tomorrow, things are much quieter but turning colder for us. So taking a look at our wind gusts for us for today, you can see from eastern Alberta through Saskatchewan, we've got that wind gust 50 to 70 kilometers per hour, especially through the Regina region. So that's where the blowing snow comes into play. Even into southern Manitoba, the Interlake region for us, looking at some gusty winds. And that snowfall, a lot of that will be whipping around. Thankfully, though, any additional snowfall for us for today, about 5 to 10 centimeters worth of it through parts of southern Manitoba. And as we head farther west into Saskatchewan and into Alberta, the amounts are really dropping off. But again, the focus there will be the gusty winds and the blowing snow. And like I said, you know, what happens in the prairies continues east.
Absolutely. I'll talk about the next snow that we have to worry about in Ontario in a moment. But let's first take a peek back at what happened yesterday as the city of Toronto and surrounding areas were crippled by the huge snowstorm that moved in, had strong winds, and people were just leaving their cars because they couldn't get out of snowbanks. And well, for good reason, 30 to 50 centimeters, generally speaking, fell across the area. At Ottawa's International Airport, 48 centimeters fell, which puts yesterday at the second snowiest day on record. So where's that clipper system going next? Well, it's heading into northern Ontario through this evening. Chapleau, Sault Ste. Marie, Timmins in a snowfall warning, and then it will spread into southern Ontario really through tomorrow early morning. And along the lake shores here, you can see a little bit of green. Toronto, for example, Hamilton, you could see some mixing with this and a changeover to some light rain, and then this will start to clear out of the area. So how much more snow are we talking about? Well, I do want to highlight areas that are seeing snow that didn't get it yesterday, like Sault Ste. Marie over towards Chapleau and Sudbury. But for Barrie down to Toronto, it's about 5 to 10 centimeters. But Toronto itself, London, and that's hugging those shorelines, less amounts because of the rain, Chris.
Oh, my goodness. So lots more to go, whether you want to hear it or not. Meanwhile, in Atlantic Canada, it's been that up and down temperatures, warm enough for heavy rain across Newfoundland's southern areas, rain ending as flurries across Nova Scotia today and Newfoundland tonight through tomorrow, some sea-effect snow squalls, very strong winds as well across Newfoundland through much of today. But look at your temperatures, so above the freezing mark, but rain changing to snow in the Maritimes, much colder temperatures tomorrow. There could be a bit of a freeze, especially in the morning. Any rain in Newfoundland changes to snow, and then we get towards Thursday and temperatures going back up and down, up and down. That's 3 minutes with 3 Mets.